You have done a great job. So let's review what we've learned. There are 4 types of concurrent lines. Do you remember what they are? Perpendicular bisectors, that's one of them. The next one that we learned was the angle bisector. The next concurrent line that we learned was the median. And finally, we learned the altitudes. Thanks to my magic eraser making those appear. Now, we each had a point of concurrency for each of these type of concurrent lines, and the perpendicular bisector was the circumcenter. Get some of our ink from before. For the angle bisector was the end center. For the median was the centroid, which remember the centroid is the balancing point of the triangle. And for the altitude is the orthocenter. Now, let's look at a picture of all of these lines drawn. Can you find an example of each type of concurrent line? Let's start with the first one, the perpendicular bisector. The perpendicular bisector, remember, started at a midpoint and formed a right angle. Well, I see 2 right angles. This is a right angle, and so is this. So our answer is either going to be AF or DH. Well, I'm going to go with DH because notice here, D is a midpoint because it tells us that D and E are midpoints. So DH is an example of a perpendicular bisector. Next, let's find an angle bisector. Now, this is some great information down here. It says angle ACG is congruent to angle BCG. So that means that angle ACG, which is this angle, let's go ahead and mark it with our pen. This angle right here is congruent to angle BCG. So we can mark this. So that tells me that ray CG is an example of an angle bisector. Next, let's find a median. A median goes from vertex to midpoint. Well, we have a midpoint at D, but we don't have another line connecting from D to a vertex. So our next option is AE, because E is a midpoint, and a median connects vertex, which is A, to midpoint, which is E. Finally, we have an altitude. And remember, an altitude goes from a vertex to a right angle. So the only option we have left is AF, which does go from a vertex, which is vertex A, and forms a right angle, which is occurring right here. You did a great job, and good luck on your assessment. It's coming up next.